Hi everyone, it's Bence here. I started game development in January of 2020. Now, it is January of 2021, so a year has passed. This past year was very exciting for me. I learned a lot in several areas. My programming skill improved a lot, I came up with game ideas, level designs, I used animations, effects, I learned how to create user interfaces that look appealing, or at least not horribly ugly. I learned modeling, music and soundtrack creation, video editing, and some form of marketing. And last, but definitely not least, I started to create environment designs, which I really enjoy and hopefully can improve myself to a professional level in it. During this year, I created 9 environment designs, 5 of which are available on this channel, a few prototypes, and published 10 small games on itch.io. In this video, I would like to go through all those 10 games and show you, and myself as well, how I improved and progressed during this year. My very first game is called Escape the Fire. It is a 2D endless runner that I made based on Blackthorn Prod's tutorial. I also added a high score table, user interface, and items that the player can pick up. I made the visual art for the game. Later, a friend of mine created some textures that looked way better than what I did, as well as the soundtrack, which I wanted to make as absurd as I could. Aside the horrible spaghetti code, the only thing I would do differently if I was making this game today is the fire extinguisher. Lots of people told me that using that one on the fires is the best part of the game, but because you get points if you actually move past the fire, using the extinguisher reduces the amount of points you can get. So this is something I learned. A game mechanic should never punish the player, especially not those that are most fun to use. Night of the Dead Fools. Night of the Dead Fools is the game that I made as project work in the weekend game development school I attended during 2020. The game was supposed to be a taxi that delivers passengers, but I wanted to have some story, so in this game you have to find items that rewards the player with some lore regarding the Night of the Dead Fools. I was lucky to come across a Kenny asset giveaway on itch.io, so I could create a very diverse but aesthetically uniform world. The controls are just horrible, but other than that, I like how the atmosphere turned out, and I might use the story of this game in a later project. RetroCube. This game is unfortunately just a prototype. My idea was that the player has no powers, instead the environment gives the power, but the player decides which one. So, for example here, I need to run fast first, but then I need to jump high. I choose the power I need, but I have to apply it on the environment to take effect. This game mechanic, in theory, can be platforming and puzzle at the same time. I started to develop this into a proper game, but I only have 3 working levels so far. Super Treasure Hunt. I made this game for a 48 hours Hungarian game jam. Actually, this was my first jam game. The theme was inconvenient superpower, but there were more than 10 additional extra challenges that could be included. I remember a few. There was one that required me to use some of my own photos as textures, or that the game should include water. My idea was that your power enables you to destroy obstacles, but at the same time, a random part of the level also disappears. This way you get closer to your goal, but also potentially block your way. The main problem with this mechanic is that you cannot plan ahead because of the randomness. Sebi's Random Tech, the game. This game was also made for a Hungarian game jam. The theme was about your favorite YouTuber. At the time I really enjoyed Sebi's Random Tech videos. I still do, but they became a little rare lately. He tells all types of tricks and interesting information about older ThinkPad laptops, and since I have a T61 I said, why not? The game itself is really boring. You put the laptop together and then take some photos of it in nature. The challenge with this one was modeling and texturing the laptop, as well as implementing a screenshot function. Pixel Dungeon. Surprise, surprise, this one again was made for a jam. Actually, I submitted it for 3 different jams. One required me to use this 2D pixel pack by Kenny, another one was a Kenny jam itself. I think I did not really satisfy the theme there, but since I needed to use Kenny assets here as well, I submitted it anyway. And the third jam's theme was Break the Rules, and I originally made the game for this jam. The rule breaking here is simple. If you jump into a wall, instead of hitting yourself, you are teleported to somewhere else on the map, which potentially enables you to escape from the fearsome dungeon chicken. The main thing I learned in this project was Unity's NavMesh feature. Forest Adventure? Again, another game jam game. The theme for this one was Nobody Moves. The idea in this that you have a flashlight and as long as you are using it on an enemy, they cannot move and cannot hurt you. A bit similar to the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. I wanted this to be my first game, completely made with visual scripting, but I ran into some issues, and since game jams come with deadlines, I had to use C# at the end to be able to finish on time. I think using your enemies as platforms has some great potential, but this flashlight method, at least the way I implemented it, is a bit cumbersome in 2D. The new and very exciting thing about this project was making my own soundtrack for the game. I used the software called Cakewalk, it is free, and my trusty old synthesizer. The only problem was that I have not practiced playing the piano in ages, and it shows. Still, I was very proud of myself. Leave Me Alone. You guessed it, it was also made for a game jam. This time I was not creative with naming, as the jam's title was Leave Me Alone as well. For this game, I repurposed an old project. I came up with a funny story about a servant of an evil wizard wanting to find his master, and to do that he needs to solve puzzles. I really enjoyed coming up with programming the puzzles, and I was very happy that I could deliver a game that was a full experience despite its small length. The people who tried it also enjoyed the game, and for the first time I attracted some attention on itch.io. Trash. I recently made a video about this game, so I do not want to go into too much detail here. I made this game for the Secret Santa Game Jam. I implemented animations for the first time, created an appealing user interface, and used cutscenes and implemented a dialogue system. If you want to know more about this game, check out my video on it. Neon Highway. The last game jam I participated in 2020 had Infinite as its theme. I immediately thought I should create an Infinite runner, not just because it goes really well with the theme, but because my first game was also an Infinite runner, remember Escape the Fire, and it would give a nice frame to my first year in game development. I really like those videos on YouTube where you have some chill synthwave music and the visual is just a car moving along the road with retro vibes. So I decided to try to achieve this atmosphere, but make it interactive. I learned a bit of random generation, used the vehicle controller for the first time, and asked an artist from Bandcamp if I can use his music in my project. He allowed me, for which I am still very grateful. People really enjoyed the game. For a time it was on 36th place on itch.io's game list. It got more than 300 downloads so far, which for me is a huge success. So, these were the games I made in 2020. I really enjoyed working on them, and I really look forward working on new projects in 2021. You can check out all the games on my itch.io page, link is in the description. See you in the next video, bye!